Welcome to Boxing During Dinner. We're back here at RANDAZZO'S, not at my house anymore.
You didn't even serve any food.
I didn't serve any food that night. That was a late episode, and there was no food
regrettably
being cooked. But David, aside from RANDAZZO'S, the place we love, this is our home, best Italian food in Florida, maybe even the United States.
Yeah, I would say definitely Planet Earth.
Planet Earth. But we have another sponsor.
We do tonight. A good friend of mine owns a computer spyware removal company. It's called Raven PC. I'm going to mess this up.
And apparently they sell liquor.
Raven PC Support. They do not sell liquor. In fact, what they do is give us amazing bottles of liquor as a thank you for promoting their show. So to my friend LA, who lives in Baltimore, thank you so much. This is a bottle of this. So Raven PC Support, what they do, and the URL for the website is going to show up on the bottom of the screen here. If you guys have spyware, malware, anything on your computer, a virus, whatever it is, and it doesn't matter where you are, what you can actually do, and this is kind of cool, I don't know anybody else doing this, you can log in if you have an internet connection, and he will log in remotely and remove all your spyware, viruses, and stuff like that, which is an awesome service. So your computer might be working fine, but you don't exactly know. It never hurts to check up and see what it is that's on your system. Credit card information, people making purchases online, that stuff might actually be getting taken from you and you wouldn't even know it.
Don't use PCmatic.
No, don't do that.
RavenPCSupport.com. And they're corny. I mean,
horrible commercials on those guys, and these ones give us aged whiskey, 18 years by Chivas. Awesome whiskey, awesome company. Check them out, and the URL will be here on the bottom. Let's talk boxing.
Well, the age was not 18 but 32. The age of Guillermo Rigondeaux.
I see what he did there. It was a nice transition.
It's called the transition in the TV world.
Transitional material. Very good.
And David, last week's episode, and let me get this off my chest. Last week's episode, I came out and predicted Nonito Donaire, as did many.
You did?
As did many, would beat Guillermo Rigondeaux.
Guess who didn't?
You could have sworn I picked David to beat Guillermo Rigondeaux. I mean, for God's sakes, look, I'm Cuban American. I'm friends. I know Rigondeaux's managers. I had a rooting interest in this.
Yeah.
I wanted these guys to do good.
You did.
But I picked Donaire because why? He was a top pound-for-pound fighter, and Rigondeaux hadn't looked like he did Saturday night against Roberto Marroquin, Rico Ramos, guys like that, right? So I picked Nonito Donaire, but you could have sworn I picked David to beat Guillermo Rigondeaux.
Or Fidel Castro.
Or anybody.
It was quite the contrary.
Yeah. So no comment about that. But
that didn't go over well, did it?
Man, I've never gotten that much grief over a prediction ever. And yes, I was wrong. I was very wrong.
Yeah.
Guillermo Rigondeaux fought a great fight. He's now one of the best fighters in boxing. He's the best fighter at 122, from 118 to 122. I think he'll beat everybody in those divisions. Now, do I stand by my pick? Yes. It wasn't a horrible pick to make. I mean, Nonito Donaire to that point was, like Vivek Wallace said, he was the guy under 140.
Right.
Now you could argue Rigondeaux is the guy under 140.
I will tell all of my Cuban American fans and regular folks that I did successfully pick Guillermo Rigondeaux to win this fight. Armando,
the real Cuban.
The real Cuban wannabe.
And really quick, I did pick Angelo Santana, who unfortunately lost.
Yeah.
And then I get ripped for that. He's Cuban too. You guys should like him. It's Angelo Santana.
It just wasn't your week, and neither was it when you picked Amir Khan on several occasions.
No, I didn't. I said Amir Khan was a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter
until he got iced by Danny Garcia.
And he got iced.
Let's talk shop. I don't want to totally bury Armando because his pick was awful, and I suppose living with it all week was bad enough.
Horrible.
But let's talk about the fight and for starters, if you guys want to pick anything for Canelo Trout this weekend, pick the opposite of what he's picking.
Exactly.
But let's talk shop. The first round made me think that this was going to be Rigondeaux's fight for the rest of the night.
Absolutely.
And he proved it. He came out and he attacked in the first round like I didn't expect that he would. I thought this was going to be 2 or 3 rounds of guys feeling each other out, trying to counterpunch, not really landing anything. Rigondeaux, yes, did that, but he put together a couple combinations in the first round. He was the aggressor in a match with 2 counterpunchers, and I think immediately Nonito Donaire knew that he was not in with the guy that he thought he was going to be in with. Rigondeaux's speed was superior, his footwork was superior.
In every way.
His defense was superior. He completely outclassed him, and I told Vivek Wallace this same thing, and I felt that a lot of boxing writers, Dan Rafael in particular, Kevin Iole, did not give him his due even after the win. I don't think there's anybody in the sport of boxing, yes, including Floyd Mayweather, who is capable of putting on the type of performance that he did on Saturday night.
I disagree with you with the latter part of what you said. He did, from the first round, you knew it was a Rigondeaux fight. And I tease about comments that I said earlier and stuff, because I know you guys are sensitive. I don't want you to cry and get on my YouTube. Whoa, Armando's not Cuban. Bunch of wusses, man.
I'll be Cuban for you
Guillermo
guys.
Rigondeaux fought the perfect fight. He fought the fight he needed to fight to beat Nonito Donaire. That being said, he fought the perfect fight. We knew from the first round he was gonna win. He outboxed him. The speed was unbelievable. I didn't think it was a close fight, except for the knockdown. I really couldn't find any other round to give Nonito Donaire. He fought a fabulous fight. However, as much praise that Guillermo Rigondeaux is getting, because I do give him praise. He is in my top 10 pound for pound right now.
Yeah, we saw what happened when Amir Khan entered the top 5.
I know. Maybe you guys don't want me to put him in my top 10, but he is in my top 10. He's a great fighter, but some people are jumping the gun, David, and I'm sorry, but he's not in the class of Mayweather. He's not better than Joel Casamayor was. I mean, the guy has 12 fights right now. He won his first only true fight, and people are already putting him on a pedestal up there with Joel Casamayor and other great Cuban fighters of all time. He's not up there.
I'm gonna stomp on you, dude. I'm gonna stomp
Joel
on you right
Casamayor.
now.
No, but tell me, Joel Casamayor beat Diego Corrales arguably twice. Lost to Popo Freitas very controversially. He could have won that fight. He also, in my opinion, beat Jose Luis Castillo. He fought Juan Manuel Marquez, fought Robert Guerrero. He fought everybody. Guillermo Rigondeaux may get to that point. The fact of the matter is, he's not there yet.
All these fights you just mentioned, for the most part, are fights that he lost.
Right,
and I
but
think that Casamayor's
lost.
Arguably,
Wait,
but he
so,
did.
So what? So beating Rico Ramos is better than losing, arguably, to Jose Luis Castillo? Give me a break. Rico Ramos just lost to a bum. He lost to David.
Well, yeah, probably. That's effed up, dude. Rico Ramos
you're
is
not
hardly...
you're a bum in the professional fight
Okay,
ring.
all right, that's fair. Rico
As a
Ramos
friend,
is
you're
hardly a
tops.
benchmark. Yes, that's the guy who got, Rigondeaux his first belt, but... I would say that he's already surpassed Casamayor. I don't think there's anybody on Casamayor's resume that he has a win over that even comes close
Diego
to Donaire's
Corrales.
right now. Absolutely not.
Jose Luis
At that point in
Castillo,
his
he should have won that fight.
At that point in his career, I don't think Corrales was the fighter that Donaire is.
Joe
now.
Casamayor was 174 years old. 174 years old. But you know what I did like about Rigondeaux? I saw some influence from Joe Casamayor, who's probably one of my favorite fighters of all time.
I think it's obvious right now.
I love Joe Casamayor. And also, David, there's a point, and it's a valid point, and I'm not saying this to be a hater. Bob Arum, after the fight, said that he doesn't know how to market Guillermo Rigondeaux because he thinks he's a boring fighter. A lot of people don't appreciate the art of boxing. I thought he fought fabulously on Saturday night. Now, it's not everybody's cup of tea. That's why people pay to watch Brandon Rios Alvarado,
Right.
Barrera Morales, Ward Gotti, and not guys like Guillermo Rigondeaux. I was at Cowboy Stadium when Margarito fought Pacquiao, and on the undercard, Rigondeaux fought Ricardo Cordova.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that many people boo.
Yeah.
Because there was like 80,000 people in that
It ended up
arena.
being a closer fight than it should have too. Yes, Rigondeaux does not have what would be considered an all-time fan-pleasing style, but he's a supreme talent, and I maybe this is not exactly where you're going, but I take exception to people who are supposed to be devoted followers, people committed to the craft of the sport, who absolutely celebrated Bradley Provodnikov, Rios versus Alvarado,
Right.
and then crapped all over Rigondeaux because he didn't put on what was considered a fan-pleasing performance, while exhibiting far more skill than any of those four-mentioned guys
Right,
before.
absolutely,
He should be absolutely celebrated for that, and he is not. And I think
And
that
ahead of
sucks.
Casamayor, my favorite fighters of all time is Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah.
Who was a defensive genius.
Yeah.
And he fought these type of fights, albeit he did throw more punches than Rigondeaux did. You look at his punch stat, Rigondeaux threw about, 300-something punches? Whitaker would throw double that.
Canelo Alvarez versus Austin Trout, San Antonio, Texas. Armando,
This Saturday.
I'm going to give it to you. What are your thoughts?
I think Rigondeaux is going to win by knockout.
Your Cuban American fans are very happy right now, Armando. Redemption is yours.
Rigondeaux beat Canelo and Trout on the same night. I know in my heart of hearts and in your heart of hearts, we pick Austin Trout to win this fight. However, he's not going to get a decision in San Antonio. Texas has been controversial. The Coles, Lawrence Cole, and his dad, and Gail Van Hoy as a judge. They've controlled boxing there for a long, long time. And it's almost been 20 years since Pernell Whitaker got robbed. And I mentioned Whitaker was my favorite fighter. He got robbed against Julio Cesar Chavez blindly. It was a draw. a fight he dominated against Julio Cesar Chavez. And Canelo's the selling point and I'm not going to just say it's on Golden Boy, because it's really not. It's just Texas as a state has just been so controversial time and time again. I just don't see Austin Trout going in there. He has to win 12 rounds convincingly, drop Canelo 2 or 3 times to get a decision there.
Yeah.
But I think he should win the fight.
I think so too, and it's interesting because if you look at the scorecards of Rigondeaux versus Donaire, that was still a robbery. Even though Rigondeaux got a unanimous decision, the scorecards did not show that he outclassed Rigondeaux Donaire the way he actually did. Look back to Austin Trout's fight against Miguel Cotto. That's one of the examples of a guy who actually did get the scoring that I thought he deserved, to the point where it was almost in the opposite direction, where he maybe got more rounds than he should have. I hate that we're even considering it as a factor into what we're deciding to pick based on the scoring and not the fight itself. I'm still sticking with Austin Trout here, and that's not to downplay Canelo, because he's
a good fighter.
Very well could come out and win this fight. I think he has underrated speed. He's a great combination puncher. His defense is underrated, but Austin Trout proved against elite level competition what he has: an ability to make adjustments in fight, underrated speed. He has an ability to take away a fighter's best assets, and he took that away from Miguel Cotto. I think. Yes, Canelo is going to give him trouble, but I think Austin Trout is going to make the adjustments, and I think he's going to win by 3 or 4 rounds.
Well, when I went on Vivek Wallace's show, which is a great show, and we'll promote it on our site and on our Facebook page, I said that Canelo may win this fight. We don't know. He may come out and impress all of us and just walk through Austin Trout. Our good friend Harold Letterman, who I have to thank for his Passover card that he sent me.
Thanks, Harold.
To Harold and Eileen, thank you. Harold thinks that Canelo's going to walk through Austin Trout. And Harold may be right. I mean, Canelo Alvarez is just entering the prime of his career, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
All these other years, he's been a kid.
Right. Well,
and now that he's progressing as a fighter, this may be his coming out party. But Austin Trout's a really good fighter. So, I mean, I'm leaning Trout, but not expecting him to get a decision.
I think there are 3 scenarios here, and they're all interesting. One is Canelo wins by like a close decision, Trout wins by a close decision, or Canelo knocks Alvarez or Trout out. That's the wild card.
He knocks himself out.
He knocks himself out. I think Canelo has that difference maker. He has power. He's a great combination puncher. Trout hasn't proven that he has a weak chin, but if anyone's going to test it, it's going to be Canelo.
I agree, and it should be a fun night. And through the art of editing, this will be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But we can't end this without mentioning we went to the Mike Tyson one-man show, Undisputed Truth. It was amazing. You guys need to hear his story about his encounter with Mitch Green at a tater shop. Amazing. It was probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
The show was funny. It was sincere. At times, I had a little bit of everything. About 2 hours, absolutely. I felt like we had gotten our money's worth within the first 10 minutes. If it's coming to a city near you, Mike Tyson doesn't pay us to tell you this, absolutely go see his show.
We never got to see him inside the ring, but we got to see him on stage, and it was worth it. I mean, I was telling Alex that it was better than most stand-up shows that you would go to nowadays.
Yeah, I thought so. I laughed more than that. And I used to do amateur stand-up, and I laughed more in the first minute of his show than 10 minutes of mine.
As did I.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Yeah. So next week we'll break down the Alvarez-Trout fight, which I said Trout will win, but Alvarez will get the decision, so I'll be right either way. That's what I'm going to be doing from now on.
Armando's safe this week.
I'll either pick both guys or just go Rigondeaux. I can't lose.
Yeah. Good call on that.